So, starting Witchy Wednesdays today, Joe and I have decided we want to try and make it a collab. It may be a mixture of collab, just one of us doing it, but either way, today's day one, and we're going to start off with like a book review type thing of like some of our go-to, why we chose them, our thoughts on the author. Now, we don't use these as our Bibles. This is not like we got them to completely rewrite everything, take every ritual or everything out, and it's set in stone.
Yeah, we really don't work that way.
I know for me, I use it as a basis of, I take a little bit from this author, a little bit from this author. If I like this ritual construct, how can I turn it to work for me or for us if we're doing something together? But I've always been like that, like, especially like if I do Silver Ravenwolf, I'll get her name out in a minute. A lot of people call it the Fluffy Bunny Witch. I don't. I do take a lot of what she writes. Oh, hush. And I'll use, especially in the beginning, I used it as an outline, as basics, because at that time, that's what spoke to me. And that was the easiest way for me. And so then I took some of her stuff and turned it to work for me in my Book of Shadows. Anything you want to add? Jazzy has a lot to add today.
Yeah. This will probably be more a noise from the companions.
Are you gonna come up, Kira?
With translations by us.
Give me your rope. Come on. Yeah. Hey, come on. Now you want to play? So.
Familiar wants to play.
Yeah. One's a familiar, the other's a companion animal. My familiar is outside somewhere. So the first book we have is the Witch's Familiar by Raven Grimassi. I haven't really worked with this one.
Me either. I don't think I've ever touched it.
I think I've gone through this one in the beginning when I was doing some familiar work, and I think I pulled one or two rituals out from it. Now, Grimassi as an author.
Oh boy.
We have the what is that? The encyclopedia or something?
We have a few Grimassi books.
This is I think that's what I did is I went through on the how to call a familiar, how to bond with your familiar or something, and I wrote that down because there's a bunch of seals in here, and I think I pointed that out to you. And so the Grimassi goes through on how to create a link, how to call. It has the witch's alphabet in the back of this one for anyone who likes it. Let's see, familiar names. Appendix of familiars you can use: gargoyles, dragons, frogs, ferrets, cats, badgers. Parting with the familiar. So so this is just one of those. It's a good starting point in my opinion. I don't want to do her yet. So this was one you wanted.
Yeah.
The Companion for the Apprentice Wizard.
By Oberon Zell.
Ravenheart.
Oberon is it's a good book. It is very informative, very...
This is like an encyclopedia.
It is encyclopedia, catalog, very... what you would expect from like an old school almanac type book.
Shakespeare.
He is the real world Dumbledore, as far as I'm concerned. Dumbledore, Merlin, all rolled into one. If I ever get the chance to have... Actually, I think he's passed.
Didn't we get that in Salem?
Yes. And I believe Master Oberon has passed on. So I will not get the chance to meet him, but if I had, he would have been on my witchy bucket list.
Yeah. Although meeting Anne Mora was awesome.
Meeting Anne Mora, which
and her daughter.
We will get to
her in a minute.
That is like
so
the bomb.
In the witchy community, for those of you who don't know, those of you who do know, this is kind of not new to you. Raymond Buckland, Raven Silverwolf, Silver Ravenwolf. I always do that.
And Mora.
Well, there's another one. It's the one that started the line in England, the Coven line.
Oh,
Alexander or something. What's his name?
Shoot.
Anyway, those are seen as
like the founders of
Paveway. I can't think of the grandfather of witchcraft who made it real big in England back in the 70s or something. Forget his name. When I Google it later, I'll put it in the description when I put this up.
He has his own tarot deck for crying out loud.
It's the Gardnerian line or something. It's I can't like it's whatever. But Cunningham and Buckland are like the big American ones.
This guy is like the grandfather of witchcraft, and all those that
modern witchcraft,
all those that follow him are
like pavers.
They borrow from his path.
A lot of them do, and so like a lot of eclectics, we pull from a lot of big people and smaller ones, and our own high priest and priestess and other people we meet and share information with. Anyway, the point of this is Raymond Buckland's complete book. Might even be in here as to who it is. But anyway, I am not the biggest fan of Buckland. I am not the biggest fan of Cunningham. But I have their books. Mainly because it's always interesting to read and to learn. Even if I don't...
Gerald Gardner.
The Gardnerian line. That's it. But it's always good to read, to learn, to expand your knowledge. Because... How do I want to say this? Not one single person knows it all.
Yeah.
You can ask 10 witches the same question, you will get almost 10 complete different answers because of their own personal belief, their own personal path, their own personal teachings. So, and their own interpretations. So, we have the Buckland books more for reading and learning, and, right now, I might not need any of the information in this book, but 6 months from now, I might go through it and be like, that applies to my path right now. That applies to my craft. I want to do that ritual, or I need to do that ritual. That's a good starting point. And that's mainly why I have a lot of the books I have, because they are outlines. They're starting points. If you are solitary and you don't have a coven to teach you, you don't have a fellow witch or pagan or Wiccan to teach you and to guide you and help you, you need a starting point. And I had nobody. Until I was in my 20s, I didn't even know Joe was on the path. And I'm sure he didn't know I was on the path. And we've known each other since I was 14 years old. I'm 32. I've been a practitioner since I was in my teens. How long have you been a practitioner?
Oh.
Like legit,
in earnest?
Legit, not I was a kid and I knew Christianity wasn't for me, but like really getting into it.
Probably late teens, early 20s.
So around the time we met is when we both got into it, but we were both in a Christian choir, so it's really weird talking religion, especially around them, because they were all very kind of judgmental. Some of them were, some of them weren't. So going with the whole starting point stuff, Silver Ravenwolf. I had her big red complete witchcraft, the witch's notebook. The witchcraft notebook, wow. I also have her teen witch book. just because I do have nieces and nephews who are in their teens, and they ask me about it, and I'm like, well, here's just something to read, kind of explain some stuff. And I tell them, this is not set in stone. This is just something to kind of read, make your own interpretation on.
I do believe that her teen witchcraft book was my first introduction, because my friend Keely, remember Keely? Mm-hmm. She was actually dabbling back in high school, mm-hmm. and I think she had the teen witchcraft book.
Why you used happy birthday wrapping paper as bookmark is beyond me.
Because it was all we had.
So Christopher Penczak, if you know who he is, he was a big name in, I believe, Salem.
Yeah,
because he would practice. He learned from Lori Cabot. Yeah. I didn't grab her book, but we were in Salem for our honeymoon. That's why we keep referencing Salem, Massachusetts. We went to Lori's shop, but she at that time was not in the store full time, just because she...
I think at that point she had retired.
She had retired and only came out for special events, but she was also up there in age, so like her mobility was getting really limited because of her age. But this is one of Penczak's books we have, which is Magic of Reiki.
That's more my book because...
Well, I got his other book. His Temple of something or other.
Yeah.
But this was yours, but this is one of the books we have of his.
And I actually learned, I am technically a level 1 or 2 Reiki master. And I wanted to continue that study. And I saw that, which matched with my belief system, and I had to have it.
So... We've mentioned...
Best for last.
Yeah. We've mentioned this author quite a few times. We've met Ann Mora quite a few times. We love going to her store when we're in Florida. We love getting readings from her. Her daughter is an absolute joy to talk to. Our very first group ritual we did was an open coven ritual at Ann Mora's shop a couple years ago in early February, or the end of January for Embolic.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. They had, she had the local coven come out. Someone did Reiki readings, there was tarot readings, there was palm readings, there was stones, there was, it was essentially a huge meet and greet in her store. It was
almost like a mini fair.
Yeah, mini fair of meet and greet of the local coven, which is awesome. If we ever move down there and we move to that area, that is the coven I would love to try and join. Yes. We've looked into covens up here. We have not found any to even attempt to talk to yet. I know several people who have tried starting covens, and I'm like, you are not a match for me to even try a coven with.
There are a few that I have looked into, and I've shown her.
Come on.
And we've talked about it to the point of, that sounds good, let's look into it more. But... And then there have been outside pushes to say, hey, these guys are really cool, they're good, they're nice people, you should join them. But it was that push that kind of pushed us away, let's say.
Yeah, but anyway, this is one of the books we have of hers, the Grimoire for the Green Witch. We have quite a few books that she wrote herself.
I have all of her books, and they are all signed.
This one is...
It's not? I thought maybe it's because
This one we may have gotten at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, so with the exception of the Grimoire.
The rest of them are signed. She does, if you buy a book, she will sign it for an extra charge or something. Which, I don't mind paying an extra couple dollars for a signed book if she's in the store. You know, a lot of times we've gotten stuff, my actual other BOS that I may show in another episode, we got from her store. The first time we went, we saw it and we loved it, but we just couldn't afford it at the time. But we went back the following year, the year we did the ritual, and it was still there. We had the money, and I'm like, it's a sign from the goddess, and we bought it.
We are big believers in fate, let's say.
And she said that she would probably get another one in, but it would not be the exact same one as that. So the next one that will come in will be slightly different. Like, she doesn't do doubles, or, you know, she gets it from a local artist who, you know, each one's individual, each one's unique, which is awesome. And her shop is awesome. It's in a historic house in a historic part of Sanford, Florida. And it's a quiet little town. The best part of it is there's a church across the street.
Yeah.
That is the best thing. And it's like, from like the times we've gone and the times we've visited, there's no issues from the church. Like,
when we say across the street, you know, sometimes people say it's across the street and it's like
a couple blocks down.
This is literally, you can walk across the street to the church.
Like, there's parking on the street, and like we parked, and like we get out and literally like we're on the sidewalk in front of the church, and we take the 10 steps across the street to the sidewalk to her shop. And it's wonderful. Like, it's a quiet little neighborhood. It's awesome. I would love to go to Salem again. New Orleans is on my bucket list. The magic there is gonna be awesome. Yeah. I think we should end it here.
Final thoughts? Any future plans of Witchy Wednesday?
Well, I want to do a bookshelf tour, but not today.
Before we end this out, a good book that we think somebody could start with.
Like, just generically not pinpointing an age, or just like if it's a young adult, or...
Let's just leave it ambiguous to...
Any age?
Any age just starting their path.
For me...
We could have picked ones that we've already...
I wouldn't recommend one of those as an absolute beginner.
I would.
Honestly, like, I started out with an idiot's guide.
And it's this one. I would recommend Anne Mora to anyone starting out.
Anne Mora, yes. I would do... Hold on. Because they took quite a few of my books.
Maybe in a future video we can do, like, specific authors, because we have a lot of books by...
We do. But this is because it is really small and it kind of covers a lot. I like The Real Witch's Handbook by Kate West. When I first started, I didn't start with like any of these books. My start into it was I got a tarot deck and then started researching fairies and the fae and the other realms through Google. And that's how I got it. It was a lot of Google. Lots and lots and lots of Google. And then I kept buying books about fae and the fairies and the fae realm and all of that. So my path is more fae-oriented and myths and legends and lores of Ireland and the Celts and stuff. So, but if you want just a generic start point, this is my recommendation. Of if someone came to me and was like, I want to, like, I'm interested, I would hand them this. And just say, glance through it, you know, if there's something particular you like in it, there's a start to go. Just because I know a lot of the books we've recommended can be very overbearing.
Yeah, and I will say, I stand by my recommendation, but there is a lot in there, and that's why I recommend it, because you're not going to be, like,
if you're looking for, like...
lost.
If you're looking for just some basic information, what I recommend it is, like, basic. You know, it goes into detail, but it's not a whole lot. If you're looking for something more in-depth, then yes, his book is good. But, you know, I wouldn't recommend Buckland's complete book, because that's going to be overwhelming if you're just looking, if you're just researching. Like, Cunningham's books can be overwhelming. Silver Ravenwolf can be overwhelming if you don't know where to start.
Yeah. I think Oberon is on the cusp. It's
Oberon, if that's not a way you learn or read or research, that will be overbearing, because even I look at that and I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
hell no. You know,
if you ever pick up an Oberon book, it is very much like the old department store magazine type, where you have a laundry list of pictures and information, but it is organized in such a way that you can get lost. You can get lost with any of these, let's be perfectly honest. But it is not like you're going to be so drowned with information that you're just going to be like, forget it.
See, this is his familiar. My familiar is the typical cat. She's a calico, and she's very sassy. Very temperamental, too. She'll follow me across the farm and scream at me. Like, legitimately, why are you out? Where are you going? You're not supposed to be over here, and just follow me and scream. Until I turn around and go where I'm supposed to be, according to her. It's hilarious. When I went to your mom's to get Jazzy that one night, she followed me over, and she sat in the parking lot and screamed. Until I got Jazzy, and we headed home, and then she followed, and she made sure. She herded me home. Herded me home, and then she sat in the yard and went to sleep. So, if that's not testy, I don't know what is. But, I think this will be it until next Wednesday. But I think maybe next Wednesday I'll do a tarot reading. Or not tarot reading. Tarot card review.
Tarot card review. We could do...
And you could do your runes.
Runes. Or just a divination.
Divination review. I think that's what we'll do. Next Wednesday will be divination review.
Alright. Thumbs up, likes.
Subscribe. I will link Joe's YouTube account down below.
Actually, let's hold off on that, because I'm gonna do some stuff.
Are you revamping your channel?
Possibly.
Well, anyway, I believe I have his channel linked somewhere in my account. So if you go into my bio, I think it's there. It's in a past video. So, I mean, if you really want to look him up, it's Joe Emmerich.
Yeah, I'm not that hard to find. It's probably a bad thing that I'm not that hard to find, but...
I mean, come on, people keep finding me.
Yeah. So, final thoughts. Leave comments, likes. If there's anything you want us to talk about, please.
And guys, if you have comments about any of the books we review that you don't like them, or books you personally recommend, leave them down below.
Leave it down below, but keep it civil, please.
If you recommend a book down below, with like a little blurb as to why you recommend it, you love it, you don't like it, whatever. If you leave a recommendation down below and we don't have the book, we would definitely check it out ourselves. Because we love gathering information. We love learning. So, I mean, we're here to help you.
When we do the library tour, you will understand how much we are dedicated to what we talk about. So,
until next week, guys. Peace out.